everybody, and welcome to Java with Jesus, episode 5. I am so glad that you are here. If you are new here, welcome. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that God brought you here for a reason. And I hope that whatever reason that is, that you find fulfillment here. I'm so happy you are here. We are now 5 episodes in already. It's been 5 days of going through the Bible. I can't believe we've made it. It's crazy. I've been having a lot of fun with this so far. We're still in the Old Testament, still in Genesis to be specific. And it's been quite interesting trying to read all the family trees and the names, but we're getting through it. I apologize for all the butchering I've done, trying my best here. But yeah, I am already feeling so good going through the Bible. This is a reason why I started this series, is because I wanted to go through the Bible. And I know that there are people out there like me that maybe haven't picked theirs up in a while or are new to their faith, and need a little help or a little study buddy, I guess, for lack of a better term, to go through it. So here we are together. And I'm so happy that we're all here together. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening wherever you are. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. We're going to just get into it. I do have my Java in here, my coffee cup here. I have my Jesus, and I also have my devotional study book here, through the Bible in 1 year devotional. Now, these are all linked. Everything that I have specifically is linked in the description below. But I mean, you can find pretty much any of this stuff at a thrift store or a Christian bookstore. Your highlighters, Barnes & Noble sells these highlighters. Barnes & Noble also sells Bibles. Walmart sells Bibles. Like, they're everywhere. This book, though, this one might only be on Amazon. I don't know. Anyway, we're rambling. Let's just jump right into it. Episode 5. Today's verses are going to be Genesis 12:1 through Genesis 14:24. So 2 chapters, once again in Genesis. More crazy names. I'm excited for it. Today's caption for this study guide says, "Do you trust me?" Oh no. No close relationships can function without trust. Like a huge diamond, hope is the largest, most precious, most irreplaceable component of every relationship. This is so true. I have a feeling this one's going to hit home for quite a few people, including myself. So it is so difficult to get and yet so easy to lose. This passage opens with one of the most significant events in the Bible, Abram receiving God's call. Abram's calling established the covenant or agreement by which God created the nation of Israel, his chosen people. Abram's move to Canaan and the challenges he faced living there with his nephew Lot stretched his faith the way life's challenges often stretch ours. With this calling, God posed the question to Abram, "Do you trust me?" This story also includes lessons about selfishness, generosity, helping out family, taking risks, and honoring God. Genesis 12, Abram's journey to Egypt. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go forth from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to the land which I will show you, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and so you shall be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth will be blessed." So Abram went forth as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. Now Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Abram took Sarai his wife and Lot his nephew and all their possessions which they had accumulated and the persons which they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan. Thus they came to the land of Canaan. Abram passed through the land as far as the site of Shechem to the oak of Moreh. Now the Canaanite was then in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram and said, "To your descendants I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. Then he proceeded from there to the mountain on the east of Bethel and pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai. Interesting. It's literally spelled AI. AI? I'm going to need somebody to tell me how to pronounce that one, because I want to read it as AI. But I don't think that's correct. We're going to say I, and I on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord. Abram journeyed on, continuing toward the Negev. Yeah, Negev, when there's a note here that says South Country. So continued on towards the South Country. Now there was a famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was severe in the land. It came about when he came near to Egypt that he said to Sarai his wife, "See now, I know that you are a beautiful woman, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me, but they will let you live. Please say that you are my sister, so that it may go well with me because of you, and that I may live on account of you." Oh my gosh. It came about when Abram came into Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. Pharaoh's officials saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. Therefore he treated Abram well for her sake, and gave him sheep and oxen and donkeys, and male and female servants, and female donkeys and camels. But the Lord struck Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Then Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She is my sister,' so that I took her for my wife? Now then, here is your wife, take her and go." Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they escorted him away with his wife and all that belonged to him. Chapter 13, Genesis, Abram and Lot. So Abram went up from Egypt to the south country, he and his wife and all that belonged to him, and Lot with him. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. He went on his journeys from the south country as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there formerly, and there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, and the land could not sustain them while dwelling together, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to remain together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. Now the Canaanite and the Perizzite were dwelling then in the land. So Abram said to Lot, "Please let there be no strife between you and me, nor between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me. If to the left, then I will go to the right, or if to the right, then I will go to the left." Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the valley of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt as you go to Zoar. So Lot chose for himself all the valley of the Jordan, and Lot journeyed eastward. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled in the cities of the valley, and moved his tents as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked exceedingly and sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Now lift up your eyes and look up from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I will give it to you and your descendants forever. I will make your descendants as the dust of the earth, so that if anyone can number the dust of the earth, then your descendants can also be numbered. Arise, walk about the land through its length and breadth, for I will give it to you." Then Abram moved his tent and came and dwelt by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron. There he built an altar to the Lord. Genesis 14, War of the Kings. And it came about in the days of Amphrael, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, we're going to go with it, and Tidal, king of Goim, that they made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shember, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. And all these came as allies to the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they had served Chedorlaomer, but the 30th year they rebelled. In the 40th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings that were there with him came and defeated the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzim in Ham, and the Emim in Shaveh, and the Horites in their Mount Seir, as far as El Paran, which is by the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to En-Misfat, that is Kadesh, and conquered all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who lived in the Hazazon Tamar. Nailed it. And the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, came out, and they arrayed for battle against them in the valley of Siddim, against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and they fell into them. But those who survived fled to the hill country. Then they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food supply and departed. They also took Lot, Abram's nephew, and his possessions and departed, for he was living in Sodom. Then a fugitive came and told Abram the Hebrew. Now he was living by the oaks of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and these were allies with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he led out his trained men, born in his house, 318, that's a lot, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, and he and his servants, and defeated them and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. He brought back all the goods, and also brought back his relative Lot with his possessions, and also the women and the people. Then after his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is, the king's valley. And Melchizedek, we're going to go with it, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was a priest of God Most High. He blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. He gave him a tenth of all. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give the people to me and take the goods for yourself. Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have sworn to the God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread or a sandal thong or anything that is yours, for fear you would say, I have made Abram rich. I will take nothing except what the young men have eaten, and the share of the men who went with me. Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their share. Well, that's nice. Abram's splitting the spoils there. That was chapters 12:1 through 14:24. Genesis, we're still in Genesis, which means the names are still complicated. We're going to push through. I'm trying. God promised to bless Abram and to make him great. There was one condition to this promise, however. Abram had to do what God wanted him to do. This meant leaving his home and friends and traveling to a new land where God promised to build a great nation from Abram's family. Abram obeyed, walking away from his home, his comfort zone, accepting God's promise of even greater blessings in the future. Abram believed God, and he demonstrated his trust through his actions. It's difficult to step out in faith. We know the past and can feel secure in the present. The future, though, is unknown and risky. But when God leads, we can follow, confident that his way is best. Watch Abram live by faith and think of where God may be trying to lead you to better serve him. Don't let the comfort and security of your present position make you miss God's plan for you. Be flexible and willing to change. Isn't that so hard? It's so hard. The future is so uncertain. We have no idea what we're doing. We have no idea if what we're doing is right. What if we fail? What if we fall? What if it all blows up in our faces? Humans. Well, we need to take a page out of Abram's book and just go. And he is so bountiful, and not just with objects and items, right? But also in his family, he was able to save Lot from the kings after he was taken, and he has this amazing land, and he was able to avoid conflict with Lot and be like, listen, we have so much goodness. God has given us so much. Like, let's just split up. You go that way, I'll go this way. That way we don't have to butt heads and go after each other because our possessions and our flocks and our livestock are too much. It's also really cool to me that they were able to work that out, because it does say in here that the herdsmen were starting to clash, right? I mean, you have this tiny space that they started with, and there's too much people there. Anybody's bound to clash. This is, it's so good. And I love that Abram is like, I'm not going to take anything. But I will have the men that went with me take their share, because Abram was like, I'm not going to, one, go back on my word, which I promised to God. Like, I'm not going to take anything from this king. But two, if I do take anything from you, then it's going to be, you were the one that made me what I am. And that's not true, because God did that. But the men can take their share because they don't have anything. Oh, I love that. I love that. We need to bring that into our lives, that leap of faith, because that leap of faith, when God was like, hey, you need to leave your home, leave everybody behind and start over new here. Abram didn't even hesitate. He just was like, okay, let's go. And I'll take you with me. you don't have a wife yet. And of course, I'm taking my wife. So, let's go. So today's prayer, this is a little bit of a shorter episode, I think, by the end of it all. And that's okay. They don't all need to be super long. But I will hope that you guys can join me in this prayer. Today's prayer is just going to be really simple. God, I pray that the people that are listening and watching, whether it's live as this episode drops or a little bit later, whether they have found me right away or find me a little later, that they have their hearts opened by you and they're able to just trust you blindly, to walk in faith completely, to listen when you say, no, don't do that, go this way instead, or go take this venture. Yes, this is what you need to do, or no, don't do that. That's not good. Trust me. I know what's best. I can help you. I can take care of you as I always have. And I pray that in you saying that to them, they hear you properly. They can actually hear you and they heed your suggestions and your plans for them so that they may live a prosperous life, just like Abram did. Thank you, God, for everything that you have given, not only to me, but to everybody listening or watching right now, that maybe might not realize what it is, but I pray that you keep their hearts open and that they are able to find you and take that leap of faith so that you may prosper their lives in the way that you have planned. And that's that. In God's name, in Jesus' name, amen. That's episode 5. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And we'll see you tomorrow for episode 6. Have a wonderful and blessed day. God bless you all.